What is that? Yep. Hey. Hi guys, this is Alan. Just talking about the targeted individual program, which I am one. I am a targeted individual. I didn't know that until about a year ago. It took me a good year and a half to find out what this program even was. Um, and it's something with, forgive me for this, there we go, is the realization that just weird stuff, weird shit's happening to you. And you're wondering, what is it? People are holding up phones. They're walking by, just like taking videos of you, picturing. Cars are going by doing this little gang stalking, what they call. I didn't know why it's called that, or what it is, but it's this gang stalking thing, and it's like, what's it? You know, what is it? And it's people are just acting weird, and then after a few months, and suddenly people are, um, doing the weird behavior. The cars are slowing down, and the people are acting weird to you, and the cars are slowing down, and then you start hearing this weird kind of, what later you find out is something called V2K, voice to skull technology, and that's where you literally have constantly a guy and a gal talking to you 24/7, sometimes in the middle of the night, or in my case, also on their end, they have a button they can push. And by pushing this button, all we know is that we're feeling this a quick, like an electric jolt, just like somebody does a quick finger punch, just boom, wherever, right here, gut. Some people get it in the head, like, and I don't get that, thankfully, but you never know. It's just 2.5 years, it's never happened that way. I did have one time when I've heard other people talk about it, actually twice, where strange dreams, like dream manipulation, where it gets something, it doesn't feel like a normal dream, even though dreams feel weird and they feel real. When you wake up after this one, you're like, something different about that. It felt not just had a different, because dreams are weird anyway sometimes, but this one felt manufactured, like different from what you would normally have. One was me, a character wasn't a human being. It was two things, people or whatever, beings sliding, and I didn't have the strength to pull them up. And I was in a weakened state, and whether it's subconsciously, if subliminally, I couldn't lift that person out from falling. And so, anyway, that was one of them. And then another one was where I'd be looking kind of in a halfway. This was just a couple days ago, waking up in a half dreamlike state and seeing something that literally, a bit like for a split second, a mirage. Um, and I don't see things. I've always been a skeptic, and I hated being a skeptic. I wasn't proud of it. I was more of a person who had a religious faith, but I'd studied atheism for years. It was Freedom from Religion Foundation, H. Waldo, because I can be sympathetic and appreciate some of the things they write, but I still was always kind of a believer. And that notice that just being a believer, um, and that was like 1995. Here it is 2020 now. Anyway, I looked at my Facebook account, and suddenly, out of the blue, there's all this stuff from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, um, which I got their paper in '96, and I don't mind. I like reading some of their stuff as far as, but I just know I'm a believer. I just believe the fine tuning argument, and I think free will shows dualism, shows the soul. I just think rationally, I don't see how people can believe. Even Calvinists can't believe in free will. It's like, um, how can you not believe in free will? Because you have to live that way every day, as if it's true. I mean, criminals and your judicial and your sense of morals is contingent upon your belief in free will, or else you have no leg to stand on or get mad at or be praiseworthy or none of that stuff. Anyway, so they set me up to look that way, like some raving Madeline Murray O'Hare type. There are some good atheists and free thinkers out there that are good, that are good people. I just don't. I just think the fine tuning argument is more of a design. Is a design argument, and I don't think free will could ever come into existence out of deterministic forces from eternity. I don't think it can pop into existence. Anyway, I go off into theology. That's my religious scrupulosity kicking in. OCD and religion. It's a wonderful thing. No, no, it's not. Anyway, the things about DNA signature and the DNA signature and um, implants. The thing that people would crazy will say, "Well, I got an implant from the government." Well, no, I actually believe that is true, um, and that's the whole thing. When you say it, it's to instantly minimalize you as nutty or crazy, because once you say the government after you implants hearing voices, it's done for that expressed purpose to make you look nutty. It's to make you either get you so depressed that you kill yourself, or if you do continue living, then their job in their big cities or their police department or their governments is to disqualify your opinion, just make you look crazy. And it sucks if you carry on and you don't freak out. Their whole thing of gang stalking is to make you freak out, use your anger, and explode on somebody so that the police have a reason to arrest you. To say, look, we told you this person's bad as shit. Look what they did. To validate, they spent all this time, all this money, all this time and money, and they are begging for you to do something because they don't want to look stupid. That they spent all this time and resources and man hours, women hours, whatever, women hour, man hours, just to make it equal. Um, but then if you don't do anything to freak out, they're wondering why did we spend all this time and money to make a otherwise smart, good person, to make them look stupid and freak out, and they're not freaking out. It makes us look stupid. And congratulations, you certainly do. You certainly look pretty damn stupid to the rest of the people of your city and your town for wasting your money. And now with this guilt thing, knowing of what you did, how you did it, and why you did, and when we wake up and realize what you did, oh, you've got something to answer for because now this is part of your legacy. If you're a person in a leadership position, cops, law enforcement, city hall, and you willy-nilly went in on this is going to be part of your legacy. What you did, what you chose not to do. And your grandkids are going to look back on the History Channel or whatever type of technology and entertainment and TV we have in the future, and they're going to be doing stories about this in the History Channel. And your name and your town is going to talk about you. This is going to be just as much a part of your legacy as King David and Bathsheba. If you're religious and you think about all the good things, well, guess what? Somebody's going to be right there. Oh, yeah, well, why did they do the V2K or why did they do the target individual? Why did they make an innocent person and torture and terrorize just so they can get shits and giggles and some extra money? Why were they willing to ruin the legacy of this town and their own department and their own personal legacy? Because if it doesn't go well, then their legacy this is part of it. It's shot. If somebody does kill themselves and they suddenly it's all dies down, they get all this money. And it's like, wasn't that funny? Wasn't that fun to do? We got to torture somebody, we got rich, and we had a laugh. Well, if it doesn't work and the person survives, in my case and thousands of others, we're kind of like, boy, that leadership, those leaders, not only do they not look out for their citizens, they are kind of pussies when it comes to, the federal government, the ones they claim that they hate. If they're on Fox News or CNN, doesn't matter. The federal government, they want to stand up. Or if you're a journalist in a newspaper, if you don't write about it, this is why you got into journalism in the first place, to write about a huge story. This is your dream, to write about it, to expose some huge corruption. And you're just sitting by and letting it happen because all those other heroes in the past that you looked up to, well, guess what? They were under pressure and scared, and Here's their chance. But will they do it? No. It's been going on for a while. Let's hope somebody gets a pair on them somewhere. Anyway, make a name for themselves. Pulitzer Prize. Because I guarantee if it gets out, and it is getting out, we already had our second International Targeted Individual Day. 2011, 2012, the White House had its symposium on targeted individuals. So it's already getting out. And the government doesn't want it to get out anymore. But it is. It's getting out. We got a bunch of chat rooms from Ella Free, Romola D, a bunch of different people, Next, Vulcan, Wolverine, chat rooms and across the nation, Catherine Horton. So the tide is swinging, and they are starting to feel the pressure of this. So they can't wait 70 years like they did with MK Ultra and the church findings in the 70s, the church hearings. With the internet and chat rooms, we are able to get together and talk and put a lot of pressure on. Now, when it comes to DNA signatures, that's the name of the actual thing, or implants, um, all I know, for me personally, is that for 30 years in Dallas, I have lived with a constant chronic side pain right here. For 20 of those years, I thankfully was given pain medication, OxyContin for 9 years, 9 years of methadone. Thankful that I had it. Of course, when it comes out, that's the reason why I had those pain conditions itself. Now, as a TI, I realize because the government might have, in a previous surgery for a broken arm during football, when they were patching my arm up, my wing, that they put something there, right here on the side, that constantly is a weighing down, painful presence, or just a constant, and I don't know what it is. And then the voices happen 20 years later, and I find out that's V2K. I thought somebody was playing a joke on me. Like, what is this? I had no idea. Walking around hearing these two yap. They're listening to me right now. And it's happening to thousands of other people. Thousands. They're saying right now, why doesn't he just quit? And it's like, why doesn't he just die? And it's like he's doing this to thousands. They're doing it to thousands of other people. That's why there's a huge suicide spike. Is probably a big part of it is the government itself. They are putting these subliminal thoughts that can be done wirelessly through a DNA signature, evidently, and then they can piggyback on the frequencies of those innocent people. They can have their own thought, but the synthetic, artificial thought can ride and piggyback of what something they call acoustic heterodyning. It's a weird, never heard of it before, but Nick Begich is a scientist and he was talking about it. You can take a wave from this side and a different wave from here, and they can meet in your cranium somehow and cause you to hear uh, voices, sounds, whatever it is that they're trying to get into your noggin that only you can hear and nobody else can hear. So that's the science of it. Anyway, the DNA signature, I went to the hospital because let's just say I got injured, you know. Um, but they did CT scans, and most of it sounds very technical and everything. But CT scans is for the heart. And when I looked, and then everything sounds very technical, but then the heart, when it comes to the heart from Salem Hospital, it says the heart visually appears okay, appears normal. Everything else has all the scientific terms done for it. There's pleural effusions, and the lung has this elasticity towards this and that, and effusions and all this. But when it comes to the heart, all they say is visually appears normal, and that's it. You go to a chest scan because you have side pain, chest pain, and the heart appears pages, 80 pages of pages. And all it says about the heart is that, oh, that's the best science they have, evidently, for cardiology. The heart appears normal when it comes to the lungs, the spleen, the splenectomy potential, any of the stuff. The radial, all this kind of stuff. It's very precise foreign language. When it comes to the heart visually visualized appears normal. So it's a cover up. Millicent Black was talking about implants that she has found. There's a lawyer who was also ended up being a TI named Richard Kane. I would suggest looking him up on Flow of Wisdom, Sean Anthony Radio, Flow of Wisdom, for Richard Kane, or on Vulcan Wolverine, who's a TI, about showing the 80 pages of the court records for his case, 80 pages of court records that he sent in because he found out that he was implanted. And if you looked on the Flow of Wisdom website, where Sean Anthony is interviewing him, they put up the charts, the X-rays, the CT scans, and on ICAACT website, which is a site for TIs and implants and scanning and all that. It's also European and American. I forgot the firefighter's name, but he's doing the scanning, and that shows Kane being actually, and being actually looked at. So it's, as far as the DNA signature, I'm not saying every single person has implants, but I think some of them, me included, do have these implants, and some of them may not. And they're definitely trying to do those to cover up the implants. And they might find a person, a TI here, a type of people that don't have implants, and then see this person does, but some of them genuinely, I think, actually do. And they're trying to cover it up. They're seeing how far they can get away with it. And I'd say let's just keep fighting. Um, there's too much pressure with the internet, and these, if they just keep saying, they're not going to admit to it, no matter what, hell or high water, they're going to cover up. We see nothing, we hear nothing, we know nothing, but once it comes out, yeah, we know that we know that you're covering it up. We know that you're just going to keep saying the same old bullshit that you don't know. But everybody in town knows it by now. If it's a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, there's a lot of people in the city hall that knows about it, and they're getting tired of putting up with this lie because it's affecting the legacy, their own legacy as people, or as religious people, if that's the case. Their integrity's been put to the test. Are they honest people? Are they good? Or will they sell everything out for a joke and to make some extra money and to be part of a group? You know, is their moral ego their strength, especially if they're religious or evangelicals or whatever? Um, how much character do they have? They're normally real big on flaunting how much moral character they have. Well, this has put them to the test. Are they going to continue covering up just like the Nazis did, or are they going to spill their beans and say, "Yeah, we feel like shit. What can we do to make it right?" They don't want this to get back to their grandkids, but it's going to. So they want to try to put a nice story to it somehow for their own legacy's sake, rather than have acknowledged that this is something that they were a part of, because their kids and grandkids are going to be ashamed of it. Where I'm from, Dallas and Salem right now, literally fell out a window because of this program. I had to learn to walk again. My wrists broke. Had to learn to walk again, and over $100,000 in debt because of what Dallas and this program did to me. And now they're just trying to say they just want it to go away. It's too embarrassing. They just thought I would kill myself and have it work and me stay dead, and then they can quietly just go off and have a laugh and collect that money and say, weren't we part of something great? But I'm still alive. And if they can't say, "Oh Lord, Lord Jesus, if only, Lord, if he was still alive, we could do something. We could go back and try to help him and say how sorry we are for what we did." Well, guess what? I'm right here. Yeah, I'm right here. So you've had your time. It's been 2 years. You still got your time. You can make up for it. You can say, "Oh, if only, Lord, he was still alive and we could make up. We can actually go back in time, Lord, and try to do the right thing." And all these other targeted individuals, "Lord, Lord, if only we could go back in time." And, "Oh, he's alive? Oh, they're alive. Some of them are dead. Okay, shit. But a lot of them are still alive. Huh? Okay, well, great. Now we can go show that we're sorry." And see how much conscience they have, how much character. Um, they can't say, "Oh, well, the government, big bad government, wouldn't let me," because then they're suddenly just like Ruby Ridge or Waco. They're part of that government now, and they're part of the cover up. They're part of the whole what they did to Randy Weaver, what they did to, they're part of it. And them covering up and being silent about it, it just reinforces that when it comes, they'd rather not risk embarrassment than being honest, even if that honesty means they have to be embarrassed and ashamed, because everybody already knows in that town anyway where you're from. So stick it to them, grind it. Don't love your enemies. Don't do 70 times 7 forgiveness. And it's not, yeah, I'm not going to. I had to leave my faith of Christianity. Some people go to the faith and God bless them. The scrupulosity, the blessing also became a curse. So it's kind of like, I had to get, the fine tuner and God is still, but this made me decide. I went back to church, got even baptized, but I just thought, it's Christians doing this to me. It's not Satanists or Freemasons. Maybe some Freemasons, but it's Christians. Don't listen to the BS of it. Satanists. There might be perverts and pedophiles, but most of them are just your average, everyday religious right wingers. Some are left wingers. Anywhere there's a buck, you're going to find people, regardless of their political party. Um, but in Dallas, I know it's conservatives. Whenever you have military and police, you're going to have a tendency to have more. And I'm not biased against. I watch Fox News, I watch CNN and the Young Turks. So, but you're going to have a tendency to be more right wing, pro conservative values when it comes to military. And I say this: my dad was a 3-time Purple Heart recipient, rifle instructor, Vietnam, the whole bit. My uncle helped make this technology in the first place for Harris Corporation, the microwaves and all that. Son was part of some. Anyway, I'm going off on a. My aunt was married to one of Nixon's Secret Service bodyguards. So, I mean, my dad gets actually on the stock exchange, actually gets, puts support on Blackwater, the mercenaries. So, shit. It's like you can't get too much more right wing than that. He's a Vietnam rifle instructor and sniper rifle, whatever it is. And yeah, it's just nutty. So anyway, that's a tangent. Um, I got a shirt V2K, and me, I don't know about this, but it's got Beavis and Butthead. It says targeted individuals. Anyway, not because we're like Beavis and Butthead, but because this whole process, it makes it's like South Park almost too, because it's like you got Wiggums, you got Beavis and Butthead who are just eating nachos, and then all this weird shit starts happening to them. It's funny when it's Beavis and Butthead, but when it's actually your lone life and they're and then you find out they're trying to get you to kill yourself, then the people of the town, the religious people of the town, who, even if you go to church, the gang stalkers will follow you, and they'll play these little scenarios in the church because these people think they're helping out their community because a cop told, hey, go in there and do that. They think they're helping the community against a bad person. So much, all these 10 commandment people that don't bear false witness or gossip, because when it comes down to it, they have no problem doing it. They'll call it, let's pray for somebody, but it's bearing false witness. They'll try to torture somebody, go along. But if somebody gets thrown in the psych ward, if somebody dies or suicided, have you noticed right now in 2020, for the ages even of 10 to 14, it's like the second most popular. This is a massive depopulation project by the ultra 1% of the richest of the rich. This is, and how much of it is actually government inspired? Why, with all this technology, is this happening? With all this massive increase, with a great employment, with the numbers of great employment, why is this happening? And when us as targeted individuals, we have an idea because we're going through it. All the V2K, it's a constant two voices saying something totally negative. Either you're a piece of shit as a person, don't believe them, they don't know you. They're told to say this. They tell you to get out, nobody wants you, get out of town, and then ultimately it's like kill yourself. Just get out of here, kill yourself, and that's what it is. And they're not just doing it to you because as a targeted individual, you'll look in your background like, what did I do? And then you'll look for a reason to feel guilty. Oh, OCD with OCD, you literally try to feel guilty. Oh my God, I must have deserved something, and then you'll end up doing something. Um, don't believe it. They want a bunch of money. They're trying to make you feel guilty for something that you probably didn't even do. The majority of TI people are people who have lived their lives, who have been pretty good people, and they are good people, and that's a lot of the reason why they've been picked is because they think because they've been good their entire life, um, maybe not their entire life, but a lot of it they think it's a pushover. But some of us get picked just because they put this technology in us years before, and now it's now they're trying to do away with this to get rid of the evidence. And if we die and get buried, if we die and get buried, they can just admit, oh, we didn't know. We had no idea. They're not, if they do an autopsy, do you think the person doing the coroner is going to admit it? Do you think your doctor is going to admit it? You know, one of the first persons that said anything to me, a hint of a clue, was one of my doctors that said, my only doctor since I was a kid, really, the same building, said, nobody's going to help you, what, right? And I'm like looking at him thinking, what are you talking? Thinking what? I don't need help. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't hurt anybody. But he was the first. And I'm looking back at that time, just like, what the hell was that about? Right? It's like I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't get in trouble. But now suddenly there's this conspiracy to nobody's going to help you and all this weird behavior. And to realize I never got in trouble. I've never gotten arrested or any of this stuff until this program started happening, 3 years ago. So realize it and realize it was people like Ella Free and Dr. Matt and Shane Gibbs and all in people in Europe, and let's not let them have their way. Let's put some pressure on them. Let's make them realize this is going to be a part of their legacy. And they think, well, the government's going to give them a get out of jail free card, and they're going to handle all the pressure. So that's what makes them go. Whew. But if we put enough pressure and embarrass the hell out of them and shame them to where the pressure gets too big and too great, and we start speaking up and say, what the fuck? They're trying to make me look, well, we're rational enough. We can compose ourselves. And if we can keep our anger in check to where they look stupid for putting us in this program in the first place, then it's going to win. And they aren't going to be able to wait 70 years for this. They're going to have to admit up to it. So I would say keep strong and put the pressure on. Again, look at the Kane things about Vulcan Wolverine, where it shows things about the X-rays and the implants. And Millicent Black has got testimony and um, target individuals in Europe that do the scanning. And ultimately, there are more people that are going to talk. This is going to happen. And people on their deathbed or something, this is going to happen. People are going to finally start admitting and talking, and out of shame or guilt or just realizing what they're doing. And the CIA and the feds, who have sold this technology to other countries, like Japan, they have the TIs there too. Look it up. Then they're going to have to, and we have to do something now about it, because from here on, and it's been going on for at least 15, 20 years, maybe even 1988. There's William Shatner had a show on. Cheryl Welsh, I think was her name. It's only going to get even worse with the advancement of technology. So we have to try to do, we can't kick ourselves for not being perfect on it, but we have to go forward and keep trying to do what we can, let people know this can happen, and put the pressure on them. So anyway, keep your heads up. We've got a family of TIs that we all know we're going through. Each one of us, we know what the other person's going through. So we got a family out there of people that, if we put ourselves out there, we got a whole family of people that'll support us, even if these idiots don't. because we know what we're going through. So we'll keep our heads up. I'll talk to you later.